seats, please. We'll be getting started very shortly. Okay, take your seats, please. Again, I want to welcome everybody to today's event. My name is Mark Kilmer. I'm president of the Montgomery Regional Chamber of Commerce, and I'm so happy that most of you, all of you, could come out and join us today. This is our first attempt at a non-breakfast. It's a brunch, so you're going to get 2 meals at one time, and hopefully you'll be satiated throughout the day. Welcome to the State of the County, or State of Montgomery County 2019, called Challenges and Opportunities. And I'm sure our guest is going to tell you both of the stories that are reflected in that title. First of all, I just want to acknowledge a few people that are here today. I want to introduce to you, and if you could just wave, please, when I call your name, our chairman of the board of the Montgomery Regional Chamber of Commerce, Jim Landriel. Jim, I know you're here. I saw you. Jim. And some of our board members, Carl Marucci, Juanita Handy, Rosalie Faber, and Trevor Evans. Thank you for coming, guys. I also want to acknowledge a couple special guests that came today. Congressman Paul Tonko. Thank you, Congressman. Mayor Michael Villa. Mayor. Sheriff Jeff Smith. And James Zeno from the New York State Comptroller's Office. Thank you for coming. Do we have a round of applause? But I would be remiss if I did not introduce to you the two most important people here today in order of their importance, and this is very true. These are the people that have been fully responsible for all the great things that your county executive has done throughout his past several years. And this is in order of importance, I know. Kelly, take a wave. Get a big wave there, Kelly. And Melissa, his wife. Because without you two, I know that you're truly an inspiration to him, and I'm sure that you are responsible just by the fact that he's building this community for you and for Kaylee. So thank you so much. But before we start, I do have to mention our sponsors. Without those sponsors, these events and others like this would not at all be possible. And today, as they are with most of the county, State of the County events, it is CT Mail and Associates, and today they're our sole sponsor. As many of you probably know, CT Mail has a long history of working here in Fulton and Montgomery counties, with an office located in Johnstown at 10 North Perry Street, and it's right around the corner from City Hall there. CT Mail has had an office in Fulton County since 1988. The firm enjoys a long-standing relation with the Fulton Montgomery Chamber of Commerce and all of the businesses in the region, or many of the businesses in the region, I should say. A full-service professional engineering consulting firm headquartered in Latham, New York, CT Mail provides a variety of services, including civil engineering, environmental services, survey and land services, architectural and building code services, energy, building system services, electrical engineering, as well as grant writing and grant administration. Assistance for both public and private sectors. So they work with both public and private. Attending this morning is Dave Roker. He's CT Mail CEO, Dave. And he's here along with Richard Campanola. Thank you. Give him a hand. And either of these guys, if you got time afterwards, you need to discuss what their services are, they'd be more than happy to stay and at least give you some insight as to what they do. Or you can call them at any time, and if you need that information, feel free to call the chamber and we can forward that information to you. And again, like I said, they're more than happy to create a dialogue with you. Now for today's main event. He's sitting right up front here. Matthew L. Ossenfort, Montgomery County's first ever county executive, was reelected in 2017 for another 4-year term. At 37 young years old, he is the most youthful sitting county executive in New York State, but probably the hardest working from what I've seen. County Executive Ossenfort has served as a member of the Mohawk Valley Regional Economic Development Council and a member of the MV 500 team that submitted a plan as part of the Upstate Revitalization Initiative, seeking to catalyze economic growth in the Mohawk Valley region. In 2015, County Executive Ossenfort was appointed by Governor Andrew M. Cuomo to the State Workforce Investment Board. County Executive Ossenfort is a member of the County Executives of America and the National Association of Counties and has been active with the New York State Association of Counties. Locally, he has served on numerous boards to benefit the community and its residents. He was a founding member and past president of the Montgomery County chapter of Habitat for Humanity. Mr. Ossenfort has also served as chairman of the Amsterdam Golf Commission. He currently sits on the Fulton County YMCA board and is a Rotarian. Between 2017 and 2018, under his leadership, the county has been awarded $22 million in economic development grants. This includes the $10 million recent downtown revitalization initiative for Amsterdam and $6.5 million for the Exit 29 project. And I'm sure we're going to hear more about these. So I introduce to you now Matthew Ossenfort, County Executive.
If I sound a little hoarse today and I don't project as well as I normally do, I've got a doozy of a cold that took me about 2 weeks to get over, which really was more of a hit to my pride than anything. But I'd just like to welcome you all here. What a special venue. I remember driving adjacent to this building and the grass was up this high, the building didn't look so nice. And to be here today and to see that turnaround over the past few years, can we give a big applause to everyone at the Sentinel for making this happen? And I'm just going to talk a few thank yous here, and we'll save our applause to the end. Obviously, Mark stole my thunder with Melissa and Kaylee, but it's great to have them here today. And you know that I'll definitely include a Kaylee story in this presentation today, and I think I got a good one. Also to the Chamber for all their help and support in getting this together. We really appreciate it. CT Mail, our sponsor. All the legislators here today, appreciate you guys being here. It means a lot to me personally, as well as our queen, as they say, Cheryl Reese, who is a big part of what we do, as well as a number of other elected officials, teammates, as I like to call them. Really appreciate everyone being here. So we could give everybody a round of applause for a nice crowd that we have. And obviously our county employees and our county team, we have department heads, we have staff members, and especially Morgan Frisch, who did a great job setting everything up today and helped with some of my ideas. And I hope that everyone had a chance to look at some of the visuals that are out there. Really, sometimes seeing a picture can help really understand where we're going when it's, not just me speaking. So I hope you enjoyed them, and Morgan did a great job getting everything ready today. So, sometimes it's about perspective and it's about strategy and how you look at the world, how you view your role. And when I first ran for office, I had a number of conversations with members of the Board of Supervisors who had a little different type of thought process that I did. And the difference really was, how do you feel the county has the capacity to create change and to create positive change? And there's a number of folks that didn't really feel that that was something that was possible and that their time was better spent, yes, hello. Their time was better spent focusing on the tax bill and lowering taxes. And I certainly value that thought, but at the same time, I always felt deep in my heart of hearts that the county could be a tremendous vehicle for positive change. We may not have the ability to do it all on our own, and I would say we don't. But when you pool together the resources of everyone, local government, villages, towns, cities, your county resources, your state resources, whether it be the governor's office or just met the new gentleman from the state comptroller's office this morning who came to say, hey, we're here if you help you. We're the type of office that takes advantage of that. We will call you. We will say, hey, we need this, we need that. And the good thing is as you build those relationships, you can see the fruits of your labor actually happen. And that's what's so exciting about this speech for me today, because I'll be honest, I was, at that time 32, this is now my 6th state of the county, which I can't believe. But at that time, I doubted myself. I never tried not to do it publicly. But I said, hey, am I taking the county down a road that maybe is a little risky? Maybe we set ourselves up to have the expectations here and you come in here and all of a sudden you're disappointed. But the good news is we're 6 years later, and I think it's pretty safe to say that it's gone pretty well. There's certainly things we could have done better, but as a team, we've moved this county forward and this region forward in a positive way, and I'm tremendously proud of that. And I think and I know some of the examples we're going to talk about today really show that and illustrate that. So I'm going to talk about a few things. I'm going to talk about brownfields, which somehow I made in a very exciting part of my life, our local economy, and I'm going to talk about our budgets. Because the way I look at things, and this is me, I'm always a cup half full type of person, but these challenges that we have really and truly are our opportunities. And you can, take one side of the fence and say, you know what, this is how it is, good things haven't happened around here in a while, why should they ever happen? Or you can say, you know what, we're going to proactively push and turn this into something special. And I think the best example of that is what we've done with the former beachnet site at Exit 29 in Canajoharie, which we are now referring to as the Exit 29 project because we're talking about the future. But I'll tell you about the day. It was one of my first meetings with Ken Rose in the Economic Development Office, and the owner of that site came in. I can't say here what he said to me when I told him he owed $140,000 in taxes. And he abruptly got out of the room and walked out the door, and Ken looked at me and said something to the effect of, "There you go, boss. Welcome to the team." And so at that point, here we are. You talk about a challenge. Here's a site where, that's been a one-horse town for a long time, and they're gone. The community is reeling. We have a contaminated 22-acre site with no idea what the environmental risks are associated with it. And what are we going to do? We literally had a meeting where the topic was, what the heck are we going to do? So thankfully, at that point, our Economic Development Office and our County Attorney, Megan Mannion, who is one of the best decisions I've ever made, who also has an EPA environmental law background, started working with EPA to try to get funding for a phase 2 environmental analysis. Our Economic Development Office and our County IDA stepped up and paid for the phase 1, which just gave us a snapshot of what was going on at the site. But the phase 2 was over $200,000. Again, I can ask any of our legislators, would you guys have approved $200,000 at that point for an environmental analysis? Probably not. But in working with our partners, we were able to get that done. And what did that do? We were able to realize that, the site isn't that bad. I think I have a chance of convincing 9 county legislators to foreclose and become a proud owner of a 22-acre brownfield. Well, that's what happened. And once that happened, then we now had site control, and we could go apply for grants. We got a $500,000 Restore New York grant in the first year. We complained and explained, nicely I say we complained, to the state that the largest grant we could apply for was $500,000. But this is a big problem in a small community, and you can't tie the grant size to how many people live there. Well, what do you know? The next year they create a special project designation, and that site got $6 million in Restore New York money, which was the biggest Restore New York grant in New York State history. That is exciting stuff on how if you work together, good things can happen. So now, fast forward years later, we have the demo going on the east side, which will be hopefully done by the end of the summer, and that's a conservative estimate. And the western side, we're going to be putting out an RFP to clean out the hazardous materials, the asbestos, and hopefully that can be done by the end of the year. So now next year, and for the rest of this year, we're looking at developing a site plan, we're looking at putting the site on the market, and we're seeing real interest in the site. We got a chance of turning this around. So while I acknowledge to the local community, and I don't see a ton of Canajoharie folks here, but I do see some, there has been it's been bittersweet. BeachNut has been part of everyone's lives in that community, whether it's your father, your uncle, your brother, your sister, you name it, they work there. I was reading online that somebody was sentimental because they saw the smoke break area was coming down. These are real emotions, real attachments, but I think the good thing that you see is people have hope for the future and that something good can happen, and that's truly what we're trying to do. But if you look at our local economy, a lot has changed since 2013. In 2013, the yearly unemployment rate average was 9.2%. When I first ran for office, everybody kept saying to me, we need jobs, we need jobs, we need jobs. Well, here we are in 2018, And this doesn't include the Dollar General project, which is going to be hopefully finishing up by the end of the year and lights on, people working. It's now 5.4%. It's dipped much lower than that in the month to months. So what's that tell you? We're at full employment when you look at the numbers. Additionally, when you talk to all the employers in the region, their biggest issue now has become workforce. And how do we, get a better workforce, and how do we recruit people to the area? How do we provide transportation so people can get to work? So that has been a shift in our thinking as we move forward. Is obviously, we're always going to try to look for those opportunities to try to create jobs and create opportunity for residents. But workforce development is something we really need to focus on. And also, we have an $80,000 Department of State grant where we're going to be doing a workforce development feasibility study and potentially looking at the Exit 29 location, or Exit 29 as the location for that site. Because one thing I also know, not just from being a politician, but for living here my whole life, is one of our biggest challenges is the fact that you see generational poverty, generational dependence. And I always say I grew up with a workaholic, so that's kind of what happened to me because that's what I saw. That's why I tell Kaylee, I'm going to work today, I'm going to work today, we're going to a work party today, right, Kay? But you got to put yourself in the shoes of people who have never seen that example. And when they see that over generation after generation, and sometimes it's not just giving people those high-end, skilled type of, skills that they would need for a advanced manufacturing job. But sometimes it's how do you dress for the interview? How do you present yourself? What do you do if your car breaks down? And that is something we need to focus on as a community, because if we do, I do really feel it'll lift the water, so to speak, and the boat, as the saying goes. So hopefully this is also again another challenge, but another opportunity. There's jobs here. You go get Target, some of those jobs, they start out are almost 20 bucks an hour. And now it becomes an issue of how do we focus on transportation, which some of you have heard about the possibility of trying to bring CDTA in the region as a possible solution, one of the pieces of the solution, but also workforce development. And hopefully this will push some pressure on wages, and wages will go up even more. So, like it was said quickly in the bio, which we made a last-minute change, and I think we need to make another last-minute change. But in 2017 and 2018, $22 million in economic development grants. I think that is a real solid proof that the strategy is working. The strategy of creating a big team with a common goal really gets results. And also handling yourself in a professional way, in a respectful way, one that can build relationships with your state and federal partners. So, but yesterday, it was announced, and I believe it's in the recorder today, $6.9 million for Amsterdam in funding from DOT. And that was $6.9 million out of the $9.4 million that was allocated for the Mohawk Valley. I'm sorry, my friends from Utica and other places in the room. But that's exciting. I don't know what the percentage is, but that's explaining what your needs are, putting the plans in place, and then building that trust that those folks at the state and federal level know that you're going to put that to good use and you're going to get the job done. And as I said to my friend over here earlier, I'm not saying that, this is not about taking credit, but I do hope the culture that we've created has helped in some small way to see these results that we're seeing. The DRI in Amsterdam, you see this, the issues in the back again. Is it a challenge or is it an opportunity? We all know the city that I love so dear has fallen on tough times, but it's making a comeback. You look at the Sentinel, you look at the pedestrian bridge, you look at a lot of the good things that are happening. Now you have $10 million infused into the city of Amsterdam to kickstart this area. There's a lot of communities. Now we might argue and haggle over how it should be spent and this and that, and there'll always be the person that says, what about the potholes? Yeah, we're working on that too. But, that's a boost that other communities would be very jealous, that are very jealous of, and would be very thankful to have. And, we're going to continue to shepherd that forward in any way we can at the county to help the city. I talked a little bit about the Route 5S corridor. Take a drive down Route 5S if you haven't recently. Whether it be the Dollar General and the 430 jobs associated with that project. Probably not so many people know Target 1, I believe, Ken, if I'm saying that correctly, is going on the tax rolls this year. That's going to be, you know, in the ballpark of $80 million on the tax rolls, and they're staying, as contrary to, you know, a lot of what you hear about pilots sometimes, you know, they work, and this is certainly a case where it does. The Vita Blend project right across from the new Dollar General, that company was nurtured by our Economic Development Office, and now they're growing and expanding. The Win Stanley project. There's been a little bit about this in the news, but you know, for those that don't know, Win Stanley is a top 100, one of the top site developers in the entire country. And you know what he said about that piece of land? It's the best piece of real estate in the region. And there was more there, but think about that. You know, we've been marketing ourselves based on our access to the thruway, our affordability, and all the good things that we've been talking about. And it's paying off. It really and truly is. And also, you know, the good work that Dominic Wade has done up in that 5S corridor. And on top, and then you add in the existing businesses, and it just, some days when I'm not in such a great mood, I go from Amsterdam usually on Route 5. Some days when I'm not so great of a mood, I go over the bridge and I take 5S, because it just has a way of just saying, you know what, keep your head down, keep working, good things are happening, and if you do that, more good things will happen. So, which brings me to another topic which I think bears discussion at this point in time. We hear a lot, and we are always mindful of, yes, there's good things happening when it comes to bringing in new businesses and industrial parks and things of that nature, but how do we balance our rural character and the beauty of the area, and that's one of the things that's one of our big selling points, with economic development? And how do you, what's your approach to that? Now, some might argue, you know, you take more of a blanket approach. For me, I think you need to take a look at project by project, be thoughtful, consider the facts, take your time to make a decision, and then once you make it. And also be open that things may change. So I'll give you my first example. Not many people in this room might be aware, but in Canajoharie, when it is built, which it's, I forget the exact timeline, but it's in the near future, Montgomery County is going to be home to one of the largest renewable energy solar fields in the state. Again, leading the way. But in that case, community support, the area in which it is going to be built is not, in my opinion, going to, you know, when you weigh it out, be too much to say no to. I think it'll work, and I think it'll work well. And we moved forward with that. We supported, and I had Joe Green from Mohawk Solar in my office about 4 times a week, to the point where we almost wanted to keep the doors shut. But we worked with them to help see that project go through, and then we had a meeting with all the municipalities, and we all came to an agreement on how we're going to move forward, and we got it done. That's a project I support. The project in town of Florida, which is, again, another massive Article 10, Congressman, solar project, which goes through the state siting process. That one I'm not a fan of. I'm opposed to that one. Because when you look at it, you do not see the same community support. You do not see the same impact on the community. I think where it's positioned in elevations and things of that nature, that one I don't support. And I bring it up because I think you have to be thoughtful when you consider these things, because we are talking about trying to make the community better, but also preserve the good things that we have. Which brings me to the next topic, which is something we've pushed for some years, and again, going back to the unemployment rate in 2013 versus now, and that's the regional business park and the annexation in the town of Mohawk. And it was funny, I was talking with my new labor management director, Pat Beck over there, and she says, Matt, I remember reporting on that story when I was at the Leader Hammond. And it's been going on for a while, and there's been a lot of discussion about it, and one of the things that was important to us, obviously at that point, is explore every opportunity. You know, I think there's a difference in that area between having a distribution center, which already has congested traffic, and having it up by the thruway, certainly a big difference there. But also, you know, if that somehow could end up being a advanced manufacturing chip plant, because it was a 300-acre site, and we had site selectors say, hey, this is what could be one of the most attractive sites in the region if you try to work to get it shovel ready. So we took that advice and we pushed it forward. But as we went forward, things changed. First thing that changed is obviously our economic status and how we're looking with jobs and what kind of development we have coming. And quite frankly, I think the staff would all tell you, and sometimes you can see it in their eyes, we have a lot of irons in the fire, whether it be Exit 29, Route 5S, City of Amsterdam, DRI, there's a lot going on. And when you look at, you know, the project at this point, Is there community support? I haven't seen it. Is there the willingness to move forward? The town of Johnstown, or city of Johnstown, I believe, said they're not looking to put any more money towards the project. And what are we going to do? So we've been talking about it, probably, Ken would attest to this, probably for about a month now. And a couple weeks ago, we made the decision, and I said, yeah, I'll save it for the state of the county. I got to have something new in there, other than beach nut and Amsterdam, DRI. But I just think at this point, it's not, pushing that forward and pursuing that project is not something the county needs to do. And especially given the lack of community support and the lack of support, from electeds, I think, you know what, let's focus our energies elsewhere and we'll take it from there. So one of my last topics, and I hope I'm doing well on time, all right? I told myself I was going to slow down talking today, but I don't think I did that.
You're doing fine.
All right. So again, challenges and opportunities, which is it? The state budget gives you a lot that can frustrate you. For example, this year for me, first AIM funding, which is critical funding for our towns and villages, was taken away. I thought it was going to get put back in because I just assumed, and I was wrong. But the creative thing that happened is now with internet sales tax that was passed, and it's a way to try to collect that money, now the county will reimburse the towns with that internet sales tax for that local money. Frustrating. But you know what, I understand in life you don't always get what you want. And while whether it be the mandates or other things that come down from the state, that sometimes as a county executive who's administering state government programs in a lot of ways can be frustrating. But at the same time, the state presents a lot of opportunity. I mean, we just talked about the $22 million. We just talked about the new $7 million. So I think we need to take it with a grain of salt, do the best we can, advocate for our positions, but also understand that me standing up behind a microphone and bashing the state of New York isn't going to help our cause very much. And that's not my style. My style is to try to build those relationships, and I think you see it paying off. But what else can you do? We've been working a great deal on shared services and trying to find efficiencies. Things like the digital records management. Rather than a probation officer spending 30 minutes trying to find a file amongst the massive wall of file cabinets, why don't we digitize those files, and then you could go in and put the person's name in a computer, and there you go. Think about the time that's going to save. That's one example. We're upgrading our phone system this year, which is long, probably 10 years overdue. But those are the types of things we're trying to do to find efficiencies. I'm so proud to have Minch from Maxwell School out of Syracuse University, who's here today. He's become a good friend and has worked with Bill on all of our shared services and consolidations and all these things, which might not be the most popular ideas in the community, but we feel it's necessary to arm local governments with the information to make decisions. And we don't have the county go and say, you need to do this, you need to get rid of your police department, or no. We will work with the state to get grant money, to bring in experts like Minch, and put it together so people can make decisions. And that's where you try to find the opportunities there. But also, think about it. We've built a relationship with the Maxwell School, which is one of the best public policy universities in the country. We had Cornell, an Ivy League school, do an entire class on our Exit 29 project. We just were down there recently, and Megan is an alum and was showing me where she had her bagels and everything else, but we got to sit in on the class and look at these young, bright minds present us all these possible options for the BeachNut site. So when I talk about partnerships, it's not just the state government, it's not just federal government, it's not local government, it's universities, think tanks, community organizations, the partnerships we've had with Office for the Aging, trying to work on transportation issues. And I hope that's going well, Bill. But, that's what it's all about. It's, again, going back to my original story. It's not about doing this alone. It's not going at it alone. It's working together as a team. And I'm so proud that, we've been able to do that now that I've had some time to reflect on the last 6 years. A couple other things. The county team has changed a little bit. There's a new sheriff in town. There's also a new county clerk, and I'd like to just touch base a little bit about them. You're going to see some changes at the Broadway office this year. First off, for those that don't know, to get to our veterans office in the annex building, it's a bit cumbersome, and quite frankly, it's not the way it should be. So we, again, probably, over a year ago, said, okay, we need to move. Let's move the veterans office to the Broadway office. Let's put some veterans parking spots right there so these men and women can get out of the car, walk in a very short, flat distance to get to the office to get the help they need. That's going to be coming this year, which is very exciting. And also, our county clerk is going to be doing a grand reopening soon. Where are you? There she is. And I think, is that on my birthday? So that'll be May 1st. So if you can attend, yep. So much for the day off. But in that grand reopening, I think you're going to see a renewed emphasis on customer service, treating those that come to our offices as customers and trying to get them to have a more positive experience. Just think of these ideas. Having a fast lane for simple transactions. Not having to stand in the big line when you just got to get in and get out and you have something simple to do. And also, she's put up an informational window. So before you ever had that experience, I've had this experience with the State Liquor Authority when I was in the assembly, to be honest with you, but where you get in line, you wait, you find out you didn't have two things, and then you go to the back of the line again. Well, that's the purpose of the informational window, to get there, make sure you have everything, so then you get in line. It might not seem like earth-shattering, but that's going to make a real difference in people's lives, and I applaud Brittany for making those changes and being very, very aggressive with our DPW department and getting those changes done. But also, this is a little political, but I think appropriate. Brittany was just named the New York State Young Republican Municipal Official of the Year, so congratulations. On to our sheriff. who, in all seriousness, I have an amazing amount of respect for and I'm proud to call him a friend. But Jeff certainly has been leading the way. I'm not going to go into all the things he's been doing. We'd be here for 2 hours. And then check out the Facebook page, which people are raving about. Even Melissa said, I feel like I know what's going on in the county now. But if you've really opened up the sheriff's office, which I think has been a huge positive. And also, we can, in our personnel office and in the executive office, we can attest to this. Morale is way up. And there's nothing more important to me. Well, it's up there. I shouldn't say that. The way people feel about their jobs, having people feel respected and find meaning in their work and like coming to work is a big deal. For all the Bobby Knights of the world who think yelling and demeaning at people is going to make a better work environment, I got news for you. Spend 10 minutes at the sheriff's office and you'll see what a positive, supportive attitude can do when you put that person in a leadership position. So thank you, Jeff. But Jeff has, from the beginning, knew him as an undersheriff, then he was my emergency management officer, director, and now as sheriff. He's really, been the go-to guy. I don't pretend to be the expert in a lot of this, but we have some really good people who know what we need to do. So in the beginning, Jeff, what do we need to do? And I'm very proud to say, looking back 6 years, we've gotten a lot done. And I asked Jeff to prepare some remarks because I think coming from a politician, it might not be as credible, I guess, but coming from our sheriff, a lifetime law enforcement servant, I just wanted to share his words with you. The ability to provide safety and security to our Montgomery County constituents is of the utmost importance. The county executive and the county legislature have taken it upon themselves to make this concept a priority. Over the past few years, projects like the new public safety wing, the new public safety garage, the radio project, which for people, that's millions of dollars. I think it was $2 million, multi-year. The radio project and support for our first responders has been second to none. These projects and improvements and changes have removed us from flood zones, increased communication capabilities, improved response time, and generally improved the relationship between first responders, government, and the community. I mean, isn't that what it's all about? In this new normal that we have of floods, and the first couple of years that we had 2 state of emergencies right out of the gate, in this new normal, you have to be prepared. And again, it's a challenge opportunity. You know, I want to be the most prepared, the most ready county in the state. I love going to other areas and bragging about our public safety officials. And I just really appreciate what Jeff's done to help us get there, because he provided the expertise and the leadership. So our latest and greatest project is, and I remember Brent fed a place back in 2013, busted my chops. Yeah, all your emergency management equipment's in the flood zone. That doesn't make any sense. I said, Brent, I don't disagree with you. But we got the $2 million for the new garage. So we've worked and we've worked and we worked, and finally we got the grant from the state again, another partnership. They paid for 50% of it. And right now, that is being built. You can see the steel frames up. I think we got a picture of it somewhere over here. And so now, think of it. All heck breaks loose, rain's coming down. We can't get to our equipment because it's sitting under 2 feet of water. We don't have to worry about that anymore. It's all up there. All our public safety resources have been consolidated. We can talk to each other better and faster, and it's just, you know, other than Exit 29, there's probably not many things I'm more proud of than the work we've done to try to keep people safe and protect life and property. So you can kind of tell that, you know, it's all how you look at things. It's the choices we make are going to really determine the outcomes. You know, you can say, oh, we don't get any breaks or this and that. It's bull crap. Make your own breaks, work hard, have a positive attitude, keep your head down, and good things will happen. I was sitting on a couch maybe a couple weeks ago, and people that know me know I can be a bit of a pain in the butt. And I like to tease sometimes too far, but I like to tease and I like to have humor as a way to get through the days. And I don't know why I did this, but I decided to pit my wife and I against each other with my daughter. And so we're sitting there, and I said, Kaylee, I said, you're a daddy's girl, aren't you? And, you know, of course, Melissa gives me the look like, you jerk. And what do you know, this little girl's 3.5 and still potty training and the whole nine. She kind of like sits back a little, put one hand on mom, one hand on dad, and says, we all best friends. And, you know, sometimes in life you can learn the greatest lessons from your loved ones, from the people that are close to you. And my final words to you today would be, take a lesson from that little girl. It's not Democrat, Republican, East versus West, Cheryl, you know, state versus local government. We're all in this together. And if we work together, good things can happen. So keep that in mind. I'd be happy to stay and answer any questions and mingle a little bit. And I really appreciate everyone coming today, and I hope that you are as proud as I am of the work we're doing together. Thank you.
Is there any better example of enthusiasm than what you just saw? Let's give him another round of applause. That's the way he always is when you talk to him. Even in private conversations, he's that way, so that's why I admire you so much. And he asked me early on, am I going too fast? All I got to say for you, man, is don't slow down. You're making something stronger every day in Montgomery County, and you fit this model very, very well. So thank you so much. I want to thank also the folks at our sponsors, CT Mail, for helping us put this on and make these events possible. And I want to give a big thank you to Samantha and all her team here at the Sentinel for putting on a very nice breakfast this morning. And before we go, I just want to mention some upcoming events we do have going on at the Fulton Montgomery Regional Chamber. This Saturday, April 27th, is our Fulton Montgomery Community Cleanup Day. You can stop at either chamber office in Amsterdam or in Gloversville. Pick up bags and supplies if you want to join in the cleanup effort. Just give us a call. You can talk to Nicole at the chamber, and she'll guide you in the right direction. We also have a Notary Public Workshop coming up on Tuesday, April 3rd. That's going to be held in our Gloversville office. Anybody is welcome to send a staff member. Those are pretty big events. I mean, we get filled up very fast. That runs from 1 to 4 p.m. Again, that's Tuesday the 30th. So give us a call at the chamber, and we can give you more information. We also have a business after hours coming up. It's Nathan Latara Hospital's new primary care facility. It's on Route 103 County Highway 138, better known as Route 29 towards Saratoga. So if you're going out that way, just a few miles out of Broad Alban. So you're welcome to go there, and that's May 2nd. That runs from 5 to 7. And last but not least, we have a gallery opening at the main office in Gloversville. Everybody's welcome. It's the gallery open for the Year of the Glove, and it's a reception, and it's a kickoff to that particular effort, which is going to be seasonal long. And it's going to be a great celebration. You're going to see some artwork, meet the artists, so come on up if you want to enjoy that day. And I also want to mention ChamberCon, which is James Hannis's project that he's doing right now. It's going to be held at the Elpin House. That's on May 15th. That's a business-to-business showcase. It's going to be a great event, so if you want more information about that, come attend, or you can get a booth there as well. So thank you. If you want to get more information, or you want to have anything to do with it in terms of a booth or whatever, give us a call to Chamber. So again, I just want to thank you one more time for being here today. I want to thank Matt. I want to especially thank Kaylee for allowing me to come out to this party work time effort. Thank you so much. So have a safe trip home, and please feel free to stay. I know Matt will talk to you. The folks from CT Mail are here, and we're here for a little while longer if you want to be. Thank you so much.